How's it going, guys and geeks? Welcome back to the Geekritique show. We're your hosts. I'm Jen.
I'm Dakota.
And you're watching Disney Channel.
Almost. Very close. Disney Plus. We've been on it on and off all day, and we've been having a lot of fun. We're gonna have a larger Disney Plus review in a video later this week, but for now, let's talk about the first episode of the very first live-action Star Wars show ever, The Mandalorian.
Yes. It's really good. If you haven't watched it, stop watching this and go watch that.
So far, it's such a simple concept.
Yeah.
You know? It's one guy just taking bounties, finishing bounties, and going on to the next one.
Learning to ride things.
So we'll try to keep it spoiler-free, at least for the majority of the video, and then at the end we'll talk about some of the bigger revelations that we will want to talk about later in the episode. But first thoughts, Jen? Go.
I liked it. I thought it was really, like you said, simple. Dakota and I were both saying that it felt a lot like a video game. It kind of reminded me, because there wasn't a lot of dialogue, so it was more just you're watching this character do different things, and then he'll just say something kind of under his breath, or just a little catchphrase, and it did kind of remind me of Nathan Drake. Just a little bit, because there is it's not like laugh out loud funny humor, but it's kind of that type of dry,
Yeah, so there's a few instances where it does feel like you are playing or watching a video game being played, which kind of really works in 2019, where everyone watches other people play video games as a hobby. But this time in the Star Wars universe, and this time it's a big canon production.
Everything looked fantastic.
So without getting into any of the major plot points, because none of this stuff is actually major plot points, the character does receive a piece of metal that is rare, and it's held in high regard by Mandalorians. He uses that to upgrade his own armor, which is such a video game thing to do. That's true. At the offset. Then you have kind of a training sequence of him learning a new skill. To get to a new location, he needs to learn a new skill.
And he's being guided.
Yes, he has a guide. And then there's a big shoot 'em out scene where you saw it in the trailers with IG-11, that droid that just spins around and causes havoc in that little almost like an Alamo situation. The characters in that scene use their surroundings and the items given to them to help them finish the job, which is such a video game thing to do, and I love that feel so far, because you don't get that enough in anything when it comes to TV or movies, so I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, it was really just kind of relaxing too. We watched it as soon as we got home, and it was just nice to it did kind of feel like a Let's Play almost, because it wasn't super high stress or anything like that. It didn't have a lot of heart until later on. It was just kind of just kind of grinding almost, and
we don't know much about the Mandalorian. We don't even know his name at this point.
Oh, and that's another thing too, that I wanted to say. I don't think I've ever watched a full episode of a TV show where you do not see the character's face.
Yeah,
at all.
I'm
I
wondering
literally
how far
do not
that'll
know.
go.
Yeah,
I expect it'll go maybe another episode, and then maybe in the third episode he'll find some reason to take his mask off and reveal his deeper insides to someone on the outside.
Or maybe somebody will just rip his helmet off.
Yeah, actually, that's
just
as likely, especially in his profession. But you were mentioning earlier that it looks very good. Just everything about it is so polished. It's very similar to the Star Wars you know and love. Jon Favreau clearly knows what it means to be a Star Wars production, and he goes all out. Now this episode, Chapter 1, was directed by Dave Filoni, who is clearly a huge Star Wars fan. He learned underneath George Lucas himself. So you definitely have that feel. It definitely goes into some of the, the lore of the Mandalorians. Actually, it goes way more into the lore of the Mandalorians in the first episode than I expected to.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Just kind of the mythology about them. It doesn't explain it necessarily. It just kind of shows you what they do.
And yeah, it gives you more of a glimpse of their culture, which, like, I mean, I learned about in Rebels.
Yeah, you learned about it in Rebels, you learned about it in Clone Wars, and now you're actually seeing it in live action. It's like, well, yeah, actually, this is what they do.
Yeah, and it feels so much more gritty in live action, because, I mean, you could have a similar scene, you know, in an animated episode, but everything you can't help but kind of still look more, like, polished, I guess. But I did like how, like, dry it was. I liked how, like, not gimmicky it was. I don't know, it didn't seem like they were trying to make everybody super lovable right off the bat. There was that one talkative guy, and then other than him, everybody's just kind of, like, normal people, which I think is kind of cool.
You mentioned dry. The color palette is actually extremely dry. It's very flat. There's a scene where the Mandalorian goes into a cantina, and Carl Weathers is in there. And notice the color profile in there. It's very gray. It's very desaturated. And compare that to any other Star Wars film that exists, and it's just like a stark contrast of, this is the tone that we're going for. It is not all colorful and jolly. This is kind of a much grayer area of the Star Wars universe. You know, the side you may not want to show your kids.
Yeah. Well, yeah, even too, because we always eat, like, while we're watching TV when we get home, and I couldn't see my food. And it was, like, actually, like, I was, like, straining my eyes trying to look at, like, what bite I was taking.
Yeah.
It's like, it needs to be brighter.
It does.
But I actually, you know, I kind of like that, too. It is gritty. It is dark. And, like, obviously there's some scenes that are brighter, but for the most part it was, like, really toned down. Which I thought was cool. One thing that I thought was really interesting was how much, like, especially since we were literally just at Galaxy's Edge, it looked so much like Galaxy's Edge. Like, everything about it. Yeah. And, like, obviously that's Disney doing that on purpose to get you to, like, you know, go visit the parks and stuff. Definitely. But, you know, I thought it was kind of cool because it was like, oh, I've been there. You know, it's like watching a movie for me that's in New York almost, you know, not like that homey, like that's like home, but, you know, that kind of vibe, like, you know, when you watch a movie and you've been to the place. Yeah, it's definitely a really cool experience. We were just there a week and a half ago that we were at Galaxy's Edge. We filmed a lot, and I'm still going through the footage, but I plan on making 2 different videos. One is a But Is It Canon video that will talk about, is Galaxy's Edge canon? Because Disney wants you to believe that you're living a canon experience, but is it actually a canon? And I kind of break it down, what makes it canon, what doesn't make it canon. And in a second video, I'm going to put on our vlog channel, Go. If you haven't followed us down there yet, please go into the description down below and subscribe to that channel. We'll be posting a full vlog about our trip to Galaxy's Edge. And yes, it got packed. So the crowds did come. Speaking of canonical Star Wars, if you guys are interested, there's a brand new book on store shelves now called Resistance Reborn. It came out last week, and I'm going through it chapter by chapter right now on Audible, and I'm really enjoying it because it's the first time I'm actually getting to experience those new characters from the new trilogy in a post-film like book, and it's really cool experiencing like how the Resistance is affected by the events at the end of The Last Jedi. So if you guys are at all interested in listening to that book, we will link it in the description down below for you to get a 30-day free trial for Audible that comes with any one book that you choose from in their entire library, as well as 2 Audible monthly picks. So if you guys are interested, please be sure to click that, and we get a small kickback if you do. Thanks. Help us out. So I want to talk about spoilers. So if you're not interested in spoilers, you know where to go, to one of our other videos.
But it is a shame. It is a shame that we have to like make such a huge spoiler disclaimer, because Disney Plus is pretty much like, most people are interested.
But you never know. Like, somebody might be at work watching this. They might work nights and it came out at a weird time and they were with their newborn baby all day crying.
Where I'm going with this is that the UK and most of Europe and a lot of these places don't get Disney Plus for another 6 months.
Oh, I didn't know that. That sucks.
Yes, that is a huge issue.
I'm talking about some guy's newborn. I didn't know you guys didn't have it.
I'm really sorry. So we are going to get into spoilers at this point.
F in the chat for you guys.
Yes. Okay, let's get into it. There's really only one spoiler worth talking about.
It is baby Yoda.
It's not a 50-year-old Yoda, whatever his species is.
Oh, it's so cute.
It was surprisingly cute for a 50-year-old.
For a 50-year-old, never seen a 50-year-old that cute before.
And you
besides Brendan Fraser.
And that's such a funny like thing to think about because you think about a puppy. They're like they become a full-grown adult within their first year of life. Humans don't become a full-grown adult until, by technicality, 18 years old. How long does it take one of Yoda's species to become a full-grown adult?
I love how little we know about his species. It's so fantastic. But I love when he goes like that, and then the little baby is go like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love when babies do that. You put your finger out and they just grab it and they squeeze real hard with the little baby hands.
I want to know where that's going. I want to believe that the Mandalorian does not want the money as much as he wants to help protect this baby. And I kind of hope it's just like a constant companion throughout the entire series.
Well, he has no issues, like, taking people down. It's not like he's a softie, as we saw from the beginning. Like that blue guy at the beginning was, like, so talkative and, trying to pull the wool over him, and he had no problems.
But he clearly has a code. He's in a guild,
does.
So...
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that he doesn't. I'm just saying, like, it's not like he is, like... It's not like they've painted him out to, like, be, like, this big softie. It's just once he sees the little baby, he's like, okay, well... I like how the only information he was given when he took the assignment was that the person he was going after was 50 years old. Like, that's literally all he knew. And that, like his... was that literally... I'm not sure if that's just, like, a plot device to, like, subvert our expectations as an audience.
I think it was, because I'm thinking about, like, people that, were around 15 to 20 years old during the Revenge of the Sith era, Clone Wars era, and this totally threw us off. This episode was directed by Dave Filoni, so 50 years old around this time period, that does, like, that fits the description of what you would expect Ahsoka to be.
Yeah, that's true. It's like, oh my gosh, like, who is he going after? But I do wonder, I feel like they might weave that into the plot of, like maybe they were trying to get him to not be empathetic. Like, if they told him from the get-go, hey, you're going after, even though it's 50 years old, it's still technically a baby, that might have made him less inclined to take the job. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that was a way of kind of, like...
The fact that he had no qualms whatsoever dispatching IG-11 when he wanted to kill it. And the fact that the baby is being targeted as something to be killed is very interesting. Yeah. So I want to see where that's true. Why are they trying to kill this little baby?
But from the start, he didn't like droids. Like, anytime droids came out, he was like, droids.
That's true.
Which I thought was so weird because I feel like, well, I guess, they're still like a commodity, right? But like we're so used to like adoring them and like people kind of viewing them like almost like dogs,
I wonder if like droids can be tracked through his profession, which makes his work not as neat as he'd like it to be.
Yeah, or even too, like, just how we saw in that battle scene where, like, their communication's clearly off because the droid can easily misunderstand something, and then when you're in such, like, a high-stress situation, like, the last thing you need is something going awry because the being that you were trying to communicate with, like, just totally decided to self-destruct, with you right there.
Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. We have more videos coming out this week. Like I said, the But Is It Canon for the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge that we visited a little bit ago, as well as a vlog that's coming out on our GOAT channel. Please be sure to subscribe there if you're interested at all. As well as a full review of Disney Plus and The Lady and the Tramp and a whole bunch more stuff, and we're so excited to just give you guys content. So thanks guys.
Bye.